What about the people he murdered?
This fruit tastes gooder than a bitch.
Another one.
Oh, you see this guy? See this guy?
I owe the bank a lot of money.
No, you trying to get me hard? Was this a setup?
Just threw up like a motherfucker.
Number one bullshit guy.
The best guy around.
Real bad
I
man.
need another puff of the Zaza nail, baby.
Nothing like it, motherfucker.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to Panda Rants. I am your host, Panda. We have got Filthy Friday, the first ever Friday episode of Panda Rants. We have got a great interview with Twitch streamer and good friend of mine, RaginRaccoon. We're talking streaming, we're talking Call of Duty, we're talking Fortnite, and of course, the Steelers. Let's fucking go. Fuck the Titans, am I right? We have an update in the Sam Bankman-Fried FTX trial. We've got Fortnite OG that's dropping today. If you didn't notice, the intro's new, and I fucking love it. But enough yapping. Let's get into this Steelers-Titans game. I cannot help myself. I've got to start off Steelers-Titans. Steelers beat the Titans 20-16. It was a shit show fuckfest, just like I thought it would be. We got another good look at Will Levis, who he didn't throw any touchdowns, but 22 of 39 for 262 as a rookie against the Steelers defense. He's a dog. Dude plays like he's been there forever. I'm excited to watch his career from here. I do hope he continues to get a chance. I like Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill got injured in the London game against the Ravens in week 6. It was an ankle injury. Will Levis has started the last 2 games for them, and wow, just wow. But enough about the fucking Titans. The Steelers played typical Steelers football. It was gritty. It wasn't pretty, and Kenny Pickett is the fucking man. 19 of 30, 160, and 1 touchdown. What did I say yesterday? Whatever Kenny Pickett's passing yards are set to, take the under. I would have gone under 200 with the alt cash. Jaylen Warren, what did I say? Matt Canada needs to rely on Jaylen Warren to get shit done. 11 carries for 88 yards. Dog. Najee Harris, 16 for 69. Dog. Najee Harris has not run this well consistently since they played the Browns. He only had 43 yards against the Browns with a 4.3 average. The only game that he has better than a 4.3 average, because his average was 4.3 against the Browns, and last night against the Titans, was against the Houston Texans. And the Steelers got fucking murdered by the Texans. 30-6. I mean, it's disappointing, but what are you going to do? Deontay Johnson gets his first touchdown in over 100 receptions. Shout out to the boy. Jaylen Warren got some work. 3 receptions for 25 yards. They got Connor Hayward involved. And this is what I was talking about earlier this week. When the Steelers are winning and playing good football, they're using every man that they can. 8 different receivers, 3 different rushers. I think Matt Canada might have listened to the podcast. Matt Canada's first game ever in his career that he coached from the field and called plays from the field and not up in the box. And I think it made a world of difference. I don't know what exactly. I can't take credit for this opinion, but being on the field and being able to get direct feedback immediately from the players, being able to see things live, what's going on the sidelines, I think it was very beneficial for his play calling, and I think it showed last night. 8 different receivers. They got Jaylen Warren involved way more than usual. Jaylen Warren is a fucking dog. Steelers went up 7-3 in the first quarter with Najee Harris scoring a touchdown. Thank fuck. Derrick Henry comes back with one in the second quarter. They go into the half, 13-10 Tennessee, 2 field goals in the third quarter, 1 apiece, and then Deontay Johnson with 4 minutes left to go up 20-16. Titans had more total yards, more passing yards, but the Steelers ran the fuck out of the ball. Shout out to Najee and Jaylen. They're a perfect duo for the Steelers. Steelers averaging 5.4 yards per play. I'd like to see that above 6, but that's good. I'll take 5.4 if that's what it takes to win. It is Fortnite OG day, boys. Fortnite OG drops today, November 3rd. And we are going to Chapter 4 Season OG. They're going to start with Chapter 1 Season 5. That means they're bringing back shopping carts, ATKs, assault rifles, pump shotguns. And not only are we getting that back, we're getting tilted towers. We're getting greasy. We're getting risky. The damage trap, the grappler, the boogie bomb. November 9th, we get Loot Lake back, boys. the double barrel shotgun, the clinger, the 6-shooter. We've got chiller traps, porta-forts, mounted turrets. I'm so fucking excited to play this later. Fortnite OG was one of those lightning in a bottle moments for gaming. And if you stick around for the interview, RaginRaccoon and I touch on what made Fortnite OG such a hit, how they captured that lightning in a bottle. And I don't have much else to say about this, but I'm so fucking excited for it. They're going back to the ghosts of Fortnite's past, and I'm so excited. That game had me in a chokehold. I had so much fun with this game, and I can't wait to use the heavy sniper rifle again. The OG assault rifle was one of my favorite guns that this game has ever had. I'm kind of excited for boogie bombs too. They're just silly. But that's enough about Fortnite. Check it out. It drops today. And if you're trying to drop in together, let me know. If you have been tuning in daily, you know all about the Sam Bankman-Fried trial. We have an update. Yesterday, Sam Bankman-Fried found guilty on all 7 counts. Counts 1, 2, and 6 were crimes against FTX customers. Count 1, wire fraud on customers of FTX. Count 2, conspiracy to commit wire fraud on customers of FTX. And count 6 was conspiracy to commit commodities fraud on customers of FTX. Holy shit. I mean, this dude's fucked. He is fucked. Both literally and metaphorically, because if you've seen him, that dude is not going to have a good time in jail. 3 other counts of fraud. Count 3 and 4, wire fraud and conspiracy to commit wire fraud on lenders to Alameda Research. If you already know, or if you listen to the previous podcast, you know that Alameda Research is FTX's sister company. And side note, the CEO, Sam Trabucco, nowhere to be seen, nowhere to be found, didn't testify, nobody's looking for him. That dude got away with murder. Not literal murder, but he might as well have. And count 7 was cover-up, conspiracy to commit money laundering. U.S. attorney says that his conviction is a, quote, warning to every single fraudster. And this verdict comes one day after the developers of SafeMoon, a popular cryptocurrency from last cycle, get sent to prison. So this is interesting. This is going to be a big change for crypto. I think it's good for crypto as a whole, but I don't think it's good for the casino aspect of crypto. If you're not familiar with crypto, there's kind of like 2 layers to the cryptocurrency world. You have your first layer, which is all the big players. You have your Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Litecoin, Solana, the things that everyone knows about. And then you have your second layer, aka shitcoins. These are low liquidity coins that can be made by anyone. They have extremely high reward potential, but also extremely high risk. The RR is insane. That's why, just like sports betting, you never risk more than you can lose, especially when you're dealing with shitcoins. It can go up 10,000% in a day, and it can drop to 0 a second later. It is volatile, it is risky, but it's fun as fuck. So even after being convicted, Sam's lawyer is going to, quote, vigorously fight the charges. My boy, you are not getting out of this. Whether he did everything they say he did, or there's a larger group at play that Sam is taking the fall for, or being made to take the fall for, we'll never know. But there's no way a judge comes back and reverses any of these charges. He will go to prison on all 7 counts. But honestly, I mean, with his money and his influence, he's probably going to end up in a nice little cushy spot. It will probably be better than most jails. That would be my guess. I don't think they're going to take it as far as like sending him to Rikers, but we'll see. We'll see. That is all of the information we have about the trial now. He will eventually have to face sentencing and also a second trial in March of 2024 for other charges. So it's not over for our boy Sam. But as soon as I get updates, you will get updates. Let's get into today's Keyboard Warriors with RaginRaccoon. Welcome to another rendition of Keyboard Warriors. Today, my good friend and Twitch streamer, RaginRaccoon, aka Rack, is here with me today. Thank you for being here, man. How are you doing?
It's a pleasure to be here, man. I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Not bad, not bad. I'm excited to get into some of this. I know we talked a little bit before this about some topics and some things that we're passionate about. So I'm really excited to get into it. Today, first off, we wanted to talk about streaming. You're a streamer. You've been streaming for like 3-4 years now.
So I started originally back in 2018. I was kind of kind of just did as like a late night thing on my PS4 back in the day. And I got started just playing some simple games like 7 Days to Die, stuff like that with my friends, just kind of goofing off, having a good time. Fast forward to 2021, I bought my gaming PC, started building my channel, rebranding everything from there, and just kind of have been on a steady come up from then. And that's just kind of where it originally started, was back on the PS4.
On the PS4, was it like a Twitch app that you could open up, or did you have like a capture card? How did that work back then?
So the PS4's technology itself, if you go to where you could like screenshot or do videos and stuff like that, there is an option to start a broadcast, and you link your Twitch or start a Twitch or whatever from there, and it has its own interfaces and interlays with it. But you don't really get to see a whole lot. Like you could have the comments pop up, or you could have the comments like come through as a voice or anything like that, and that just captures whatever you're gaming right at that moment in time. You don't get to see yourself, you don't get to see your chat unless you have it up. It's pretty simple, it's pretty simplistic.
See, when I started streaming back in the day, it was similar through Xbox, and it was very simple. Like no camera, you had to have your headset plugged in if you wanted to talk.
You had to set the option for your friends to be recorded in your audio, or they couldn't hear you.
Yeah, that was interesting. That took me a minute to figure out.
It was the old days of streaming, but I feel like those were also golden, because if you didn't have that on and people were kind of sitting there like, who the fuck are you talking to right now?
People think you're crazy.
People think you're talking to the voices in your head, and I'm like, I swear they're not taking over just yet.
Not yet. They're getting there though.
One day they might, but not right now.
Oh, that's awesome. So that's been 5 years. So when did you start seeing success? Was it on PS4, or did that take off once you started streaming on your PC?
It took off when I started streaming on PC. I would say it happened shortly after I got married in 2021. I began to start streaming like right after a honeymoon. It was something to be able to fill the gap on the days that I had off of that job I was holding at that point in time. And it was just a way for me to just be able to pass time, have some fun with friends, engage with other people, through Twitch, or, other people that I was playing games with. And it really took off. It was the first major week in June, and I remember this because I started streaming heavily. There was a day after my dad's birthday that year, and I already had about 30 something followers at that point, which wasn't a whole lot, like considering, how many people, like Shroud and all them have as viewers. It's nothing like comparable to that. I was playing a game that had come out called Godfall, which had just come out a couple months earlier on PS5, and they only had it on the Epic Games Store, and it was made by Gearbox, who we all know and love has made the Borderlands series. And it was like a looter slasher, very third person, kind of like Tom Clancy's The Division, the way that the camera and stuff was set up.
Okay.
Kind of like God of War. And that's what got me my viewer count and my followers within 3 days.
Oh, wow.
So I went from, in 3 days' time, and I remember it was a Saturday that I got affiliate, because I woke up to go to work and I checked my email because it had just popped up and said, you qualify for the affiliate status on Twitch. Do you want to accept and enroll in the program? I'm like, fuck yeah, I want to enroll in the program. Why wouldn't I?
Hell yeah.
So once I hit affiliate, I started streaming a lot more. My sister-in-law got me with one of her good friends who was a streamer. We talked and we got along for the most part, played a lot of games together, had a lot of fun, got introduced to his community. His community loved me. They ended up watch me or watch him, whatever. It was a lot of fun. One of my friends that I still talk to this day, I met her in, I want to say it was October and November of the same year. And she had just started streaming like a couple of months prior, and she became a partner by the end of January or end of February in 2022. So within a year, she was a partner.
Oh my.
But her success lied with the fact that she's just a very personable character. Like, especially as a streamer, she's a really good person off camera, and that's what's carried her in her career so far. Meeting her, it really boosted my follower count at that point in time. I was at about 125 or so, and there was a night where her and I had stayed up all night to play. She was getting off and she rated me, and I had most I've ever had as a viewer count, and I want to say it was 98.
Wow.
Like at one point in time, it was because I got rated. It ended up having me get about another 30 to 40 followers. No subs. Wasn't caring about subs. I was trying to hit 200 followers by the end of 2021. I was trying to hit 200 followers. I hit the goal that I had set for myself, and I was really happy about that.
That's awesome. And I mean, to have 98 viewers, you know, anybody listening that might watch Twitch might think like that's a low number, but as somebody that's not a big streamer, that's a fuck ton of people.
It's definitely a lot at first because you're getting a glimpse of what could be if you stay concurrent and can build that base.
And that's one of the toughest things. You know, I streamed for a little bit. I didn't have anywhere near the success that you did. Building a community is not easy. It's not an easy task, and it's not something that like you can roadmap. It's not something you can plan for. You just have to do things and hope that they work.
Yeah, building a community is definitely the hardest thing about this because you can have the funniest personality known to man, or you can have the most humble personality known to anybody, but not everybody's going to want to follow that. Some people want somebody who's funny and loud, and some people want somebody that's genuine and sincere. And then you have people, and I'm going to use this example, like Tim the Tat Man. A lot of people followed him when he went to YouTube from Twitch. Guy is hilarious. I watch him. I love him. I think that he's a fantastic person as a streamer. He does all the crazy shit that you could ever think of, and that's what his viewers like, is the fact that he's just kind of out there in left field doing his own thing. He's not on any given path, and he's finding success that way. Kind of like Dr. Disrespect too. You know, they kind of do their own thing. Doc has his get up. He has the way he acts on camera, the way that he's so gung-ho, kind of like, I wouldn't say arrogant, but he does come off a little arrogant, you know? That's what people love about him, and that's why he's got such a big following. I mean, everybody has their little niche role in the streaming world, in the streaming community, and it's just finding that niche. There was a lot of people, a lot of big streamers at that point that were about to make the switch from Twitch to YouTube. I would say it's more what they have to offer and what they have for streamers and content creators that's much more different than Twitch, and it allows them to get by with more stuff, but it helps them grow their community more exponentially. I mean, there's people that I know that started streaming on YouTube, and their viewer count and their followers and everything so much higher than what it ever was on Twitch. It's fucking insane, the amount of numbers that have changed.
That's interesting. Do you think it was because YouTube just has a higher reach as a platform?
In my personal opinion, what I think it is, a lot of it has to do with the way that Twitch is operating now. And a lot of Twitch like guidelines and stuff have changed since I started streaming. And a lot of big time streamers, one, they're not able to make enough money off of Twitch. Twitch is taking a lot of money from creators in general. And a lot of creators are upset about that. And rightfully so. I mean, they are working their ass off to be a personality for their platform, and they're not reaping the rewards of the fruits of their labor. I mean, it may seem like it's something simple to do, but it's really hard. And as a streamer myself, I might not be big like these guys, but there is a certain code that you kind of go by when you're streaming. There's a lot of things you can and cannot say. There's a lot of things that you can't talk about, or they ban your channel, they start taking more money away from you, whatever the case is. Earlier in this year, they were trying to take out the ability for you to have your sponsors on your overlay. You couldn't have your sponsors or anything related to that on there if it was a certain size. They were going to like heavily penalize you. How are you going to make money if you can't plug in your sponsors that you literally worked your ass off to get? But they'll cater to all the women that flash their tits, and nobody bats an eye about that.
Yeah, dude. And I'm so glad you mentioned that. And I know neither of us are misogynists. When it comes to that, they have a history of like really favoring women creators over men. All of the like their guidelines for nudity and for sexual stuff, like they have hot tub streams. I just don't understand where the line is that they draw.
And I honestly don't either. And, you know, being around Twitch for as long as I have and like watching Twitch as long as I have, I don't understand why they allow big women streamers to get away with the shit that they do. If you do that shit on YouTube, you're gone. YouTube doesn't put up with it because there's so many more people and younger audiences that tune into YouTube, you know. On Twitch, I mean, if you want to throw names out there, Amaranth has been banned 7 different times. Alinity has been banned I don't know how many times. She's still on there after all the shit that she has done. And a lot of people are thinking it's more behind the scenes than that. There's so many different women content creators on Twitch that have been banned for the same shit, repeatable offenses. And if you look at their guidelines, if you get banned for a repeatable offense more than 3 times, you're gone. So why is that any different from me? Why should they be allowed to keep getting away with the same shit? You know what I mean? Like, I think that's kind of bullshit. You have people that literally have 30,000+ viewers, and then you have Amaranth, who I think the last time that I was on Twitch, I saw she peaked at like 8. But like, that's not anything compared to what these guys are bringing. But they're going to favorite her because she's a woman, which I also think that is wrong. I don't think that should be allowed.
I mean, we both know, like, Amaranth went from Twitch, found out she was successful, and then she went and started an OnlyFans. You know, this is going to air on Friday. It's currently Wednesday. On today's episode that's releasing later this evening, I go over her pussy beer. They're making beer from her vaginal yeast. I'm not shaming her for making a bag. I'm allowed to disagree with the entirety of OnlyFans has ruined an entire generation of women. And I don't mean like ruined them. I just mean like ruined their mind and their outlook on attention and sexuality. I think it's really fucked a lot of people up. But Amaranth, did she or did she not get banned for something like that, like something sexual?
She's been banned multiple times for that. And it could be accidental flashing. It could be the fact that, like, before they made hot tub streaming a category, that she would stream in bikinis. You're not allowed to do that. She got banned 3 or 4 times for that before they actually allowed that shit to be on Twitch. Alinity, same way. I mean, there's people that literally have had sex on live, like being live on Twitch.
What the fuck?
Yes. I'm not fucking exaggerating that. This was like a couple months ago. Was having sex. She thought that she turned her stream off, got fucked while on, like, still streaming, and got a 3-day ban or 7-day ban or some shit. Came back, nothing ever happened.
That's just ridiculous, man.
It's absolutely absurd what women get away with on Twitch alone.
Yeah, it's a clear double standard.
Everybody preaches wanting equality. You have to allow the same thing for both people. What's the point of having the guidelines in place if you're just going to allow it to keep happening? Gonna drive the male streamers that are bringing huge amounts of traffic to your platform to drive them to go to YouTube or to Kick, which is now the new one that's coming up, like Mixer.
Yeah, Kick got big like around this time last year is when they started really doing their thing. I haven't checked it out since then. Are they still up?
Yeah, they're still up. It's still doing pretty well. XQC signed something with Kick, but it's kind of like how Mixer was, because back in the day, Mixer's 2 biggest streamers were Shroud and Ninja. Signed all those massive contracts. They broke their partnership with Twitch. I think Shroud was there about 5 months, and then he came back to Twitch. Ninja stayed there until Mixer finally died. But he went there, and then he came back. But it didn't matter where Ninja went. All of his fans went with him, because at that point in time, Fortnite had just become the biggest game. He was the main reason why that game took off. And back in the day, which is what they're going back to now, thank fucking God they're going back to it. But OG Fortnite was the most exhilarating thing I think I've ever experienced playing a Battle Royale. I don't know, there was just something about Fortnite that really brought people in that community together. It was kind of like how Halo and like Modern Warfare 2 back in the day were when those games came out. The community was absolutely insane for those games.
Streaming as a whole blew up.
I mean, people had to find a way to pass the time, and, you know, especially with certain areas of the world being on lockdown. I mean, if you look at any other country except the United States, you couldn't leave. You couldn't get out. And nobody could come in unless they were masked and they had met all their requirements before they could leave. But for what, 3 or 4 months, nobody could do anything really? I mean, what else are you gonna do in that time frame? I mean, I know for me, when I got laid off because of COVID, I was playing the hell out of Modern Warfare, and I was fucking cracked at Modern Warfare. I had a build on that game. I could drop 80 kills on Shoot House regardless, every single game.
There's a lot of good feelings in life, but I think top 5 dropping a fuck ton of kills in a Call of Duty game is still up there.
I think the biggest hype around Call of Duty, and it's not like everybody's like, oh, it's dropping a nuke. The nuke is fucking awesome if you pull it off, but it's really hard to pull it off legit if you're not camping.
Yeah.
You know, for me at least, I know back in original Modern Warfare 2 when you could get that as a actual kill streak. If you had really good kill streaks enabled, you were set. I mean, you could call in your Harrier, and then you could call in your Chopper Gunner, and then you got your nuke. you know, but now it's all based off of gunplay, and you can't get it unless you get 25 kills with the gun. Otherwise, you're screwed. So unless you're fucking God running around with a 9mm and just shooting everybody in the head like John Wick, you're not going to get a nuke.
I'll admit here on this podcast, I've never gotten a nuke.
On any game?
Nope.
I got 5 back on Modern Warfare, and I remember Modern Warfare 2 in 2009 version, and I remember where I was and how I got it on Salvage, which was it was a DLC map.
Yeah.
Ran around with a 3-round burst FAMAS with Scavenger, Ghost, and was it Ninja back in the day? Silent Footsteps?
Yep, Ninja Pro, for sure.
And ran around with that. I can't remember if it was hard. I think it was in hardcore. So I got my first nuke on Salvage. As soon as I got it, even though we were winning, I called it in. My team was pissed that I called it in right away.
I'd be calling that shit in immediate.
I remember I got 2 using the UMP because back then the UMP was goated.
Dude, the silenced UMP, best gun to ever come out of a Call of Duty game.
The UMP and the original ACR. The ACR was more accurate than any fucking sniper rifle in the game. I don't understand it. I will never understand it. But I could laser people from across the fucking map with that gun more than I could the Intervention, which was supposed to be the most accurate gun in the game.
Speaking of the Intervention, Modern Warfare 3 is dropping soon. You think they're going to bring back the Intervention?
So I have a lot of thoughts about Modern Warfare 3. I will say I think Call of Duty, I am not going to pre-order it. I'm not going to get it day of release.
Facts.
They're going to see how many people in the first 2 weeks are going to buy Call of Duty and then never pick it the fuck back up ever again. You're going to have 20 to 30 million people pick this game up. Let's say it's 20 million. You're going to lose 6 million people within the first 3 weeks. It's the same copy-paste bullshit that they have been releasing since Black Ops 3.
Literally, they've been doing it every year. Modern Warfare 2, the most recent Modern Warfare 2, it was different enough from Modern Warfare, but not really. And playing the beta of Modern Warfare 3, dude, it's like they changed the UI a little bit. They made the movement shittier for some reason, and that was it. They added new guns, new maps, that's it.
I think what they really should have done was they should have waited to put Modern Warfare 3 out, and they should have made this a patch for Modern Warfare 2 currently, because everybody was upset over the movement. And I get that. I love the movement in Modern Warfare 2019. But I feel like making a brand new game with the exact same engine, same like overlay, like same skin overlays, whatever. You brought back old Modern Warfare 2 maps, which, okay, cool. Like, that's something a lot of people wanted to see come back, but
I'd say that's the only reason I want it.
That's the only reason I would probably get it at this point, is because it's nostalgia. And that's why that's the only reason they're going to do really well in sales, is because it's nostalgia. It's bringing back something that everybody loved 14 years ago.
That's crazy. It was that long ago.
Trust me, I remember where I was when I first got the game. It's probably top 3 most played games of my entire existence. I remember when Black Ops 1 came out, which also probably one of my most highly played games in existence. I ended Modern Warfare 2 with almost 24 days of time altogether, which is the equivalent of, let me do the math here. That's almost 600 hours that I put to that game alone.
Jeez.
That's about as much. That's actually less than what I have in combined over, I would say I haven't played GTA in about a year or 2. So in about 8 years time of playing GTA 5, I have about that much on and off as I had in Modern Warfare. Actually, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that was the game. Like, it would be every single day, come home from school, play Modern Warfare 2 for 6 hours, and go to bed. And when it was football season, I would go to football practice, come home, shower, eat, play Modern Warfare 2 for a couple hours, then go to bed. And I think that might be why I consider it best Call of Duty, is because of the sentimental value. Like, it was a big part of my life at a very important time of, like, brain development, like. But that game was life. And
I'm in the same boat. I think between the two best, it's the original Black Ops and then Modern Warfare 2. Modern Warfare 2 was, it was my first game to really getting into a Call of Duty. Loved the hell out of it. I put that much time into the game when I got internet, like able to play online. And that was, I want to say, April of 2010? Yeah, 2010. So from April until November, I put in almost 600 hours. When summer came around, when I was off, when, we're out for school, there wasn't a whole lot going on. When I wasn't outside doing yard work, I was on Call of Duty 14 hours a day, 16 hours a day, something absurd. All I know is I wouldn't eat unless I went to go grab a Hot Pocket in between matches, warm it up, go play a match, come back, grab my Hot Pocket, have it like take bites in between matches, and that would be my lunch or my dinner. I am not exaggerating.
Oh yeah, dude. It was either Hot Pockets or pizza rolls.
Like my mom would always come down and look at me and be like, "You need to get off that game." I'm like, "Why?" Because I eat Hot Pockets. I mean, it was just absurd. And then Black Ops 1 is so nostalgic for me, and it's not because of multiplayer, it's because zombies. You know, I recently went back with some of my friends to play the Zombie Chronicles on Black Ops 3. And the movement is still pretty much the same from Black Ops 1 to Black Ops 3. It changed on 4, and I didn't like 4 at all. I thought 4 was garbage. The only thing...
Wasn't it 3 where they added the exosuits?
No.
Was that 4?
4 had the exosuits. 3 it started the... Well, it could have been 3. 3 is the one that started the wall jumping. But that was more... I think it was 3 then. Because that's where you could, like, jump and wall... You know, like, do the wall runs and shit like that. And that's where you had, like, the different operators that, like, you picked. But I wouldn't consider it, like, exo suits. I think it was more 4 that had that. I don't remember. I'm not a doctor. I don't give a fuck. But 3 was, like, that was where it started going downhill. And then it picked back up for the Call of Duty series when Modern Warfare 2019 came out. That was their biggest fucking move that they could have ever have made. I think that was the smartest move that Activision made on their part.
I agree.
And now I'm excited to see what comes in the future now that they've been acquired by Microsoft. And you know what? Everybody can sit here and say, you know what? I don't care about that. Watch in 2 years, now that they've been acquired, what the game comes out, their next one, and how good it's going to be. Because they're going to take the time to refine and hone their craft like they did back in the day when, like, the original Modern Warfare came out, when they took 3 years to make it.
Yep.
Because they were making it for a new console. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen now. They're going to take their time. They're going to use a brand new engine that Microsoft's going to help them build from the ground up. That's going to look fucking amazing graphically. It's going to play out way better than you think it ever will. And to be honest, I hope it's one of the rumored games that you and I talked about a couple weeks ago. I hope it's Black Ops Gulf War. That would be the sickest shit I could ever think of.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. And on the on the Activision, Activision and Microsoft, I did read that like they do plan on releasing Call of Duty on Game Pass.
Yeah, and I think that's a very smart move. And it's not just for the fact that it's going to be free for people. Like, there's a lot of people who just can't play Call of Duty, and they can't get it for months because they just don't have the money. I mean, you look at people our age that have kids, you know. Their money's going to their kids, or money's going to their bills, their house, whatever. I mean, what excess money they're going to come into unless they're slaving away every day? You know, the ability for them to play a game now that's going to be free, huge game changer. You could play a game that you want to play, or you didn't think you were going to be able to, and it's going to be free. Game changer. You're going to boost your player count by 10%.
Oh,
that's
easily.
A smart move.
And that's also including the fact that games are now $70 minimum. You want
AAA games are.
If you want to pre-order and have early access, you have to pay $100.
Yeah, which gets into like I wanted to talk about 10 years ago to now, but you know we could segue.
No, we're there. That. We're there, man.
I'm gonna keep it frank with you. 10 years ago, we had full games. They were complete when they launched. They added DLC later. I was fine paying the DLC fees for that because I knew that I was getting a complete game. They took their time to make it. They were making it in advance. They knew exactly what they wanted to do and how they wanted to take the direction. Now you have games like Fortnite, Apex, Call of Duty that are live service. Now, what does live service mean? A lot of people don't understand what that means, especially in today's day and age. That means that all DLC or anything additional with the game is free. But the game's not complete when it launches because they're still fixing it. They're still adding stuff that they wanted to add. They just didn't want to put it in and take the time to do it. So you have all these live service games that are actively adding these, additional contents, which it's free. Cool. I'm fine with that, and I have no problem with that. What I have a problem with is all these live service games make you get a battle pass to get anything good in this, to get anything good, whether it's a gun like Call of Duty. All the good guns or all the new guns at first are locked behind a $10 battle pass. Why should I pay $10 to, granted, I know I can get everything else in there, but that shouldn't be that way. I'm going to use this game as an example. I've been playing Fallout 76 since last year on console and then switched to now on PC. Mm-hmm. This game is a live service rendition of Fallout. It's supposed to be it's technically classified as an MMO. It has I guess you could call it a battle pass, but it's free. You can unlock everything through the game, doing your daily tasks, your weekly tasks, and then anything else in the game that you have to if you need to get kills, you need to find caps in certain regions, whatever. You gain stuff for doing so. And to me, for a game that came out broken as absolute hell 5 years ago to where it's at in its current state, one, props to Bethesda for realizing their mistakes and their shortcomings and turning a absolute shit show of a launch into something that is, I would consider, beautiful in its own respects, in its own regards. But the fact that they're not making you pay $10 for a battle pass. Now you pay $12 a month for Fallout First, which gives you a lot of extra cool shit in the game. Mm-hmm. And I'm not upset about that. Subscription-based stuff is popular for MMOs, and it's always been a thing. And you always get extra stuff with that. But they're not making you pay to be able to unlock stuff. That is optional. You could buy stuff to progress your way through that pass, but you don't have to do that. It's perfectly reasonable to complete it without ever having to spend a single dollar. But Call of Duty can't get it together in a fashion that you have to have a battle pass to get the newest guns. You can't just make it a challenge in the game to be able to unlock it until after that battle pass is done and the new season is out. I don't feel like that's right.
No, me either.
I feel like if you're going to lock something behind a paywall, it should be a skin or it should be a completely different blueprint of that gun. It shouldn't be that weapon itself. Couple seasons ago, Call of Duty released the UMP, which is supposed to be like a striker or something.
Yep.
I can't remember the name of it.
It's in the new game too.
Yeah. Locked behind a paywall. Have to get $10 to get it. Pay, $20 or $30 to get the tier skips for you to unlock it anyways. I think that's absolutely outrageous. I don't think that people realize that they're being scammed. And I don't think that it really comes to them. They might think, oh, well, this is kind of a rip. You really don't realize, in the grand scheme of things, they're doing it to rip you off. They're a multi-billion-dollar company themselves before they were acquired. And they don't give a solitary fuck about you or their player base. They say they do. They really fucking don't. They haven't in, 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, dude, they really have just been milking Call of Duty fans for as much as they're worth. And I think they knew that, and that's why they decided to do Modern Warfare 3 the way they decided to do it. Because they have to have known for years that all anybody wanted was Modern Warfare 2 remastered. When Infinite Warfare came out, they released it with the original Call of Duty 4 remastered. That game had more players than Infinite Warfare did. Infinite Warfare sucked ass, and still to this day, it's the only Call of Duty that I've never owned.
I never played Ghosts, I never played Advanced Warfare, and I never played Infinite Warfare.
Honestly, those three are bottom barrel along with Black Ops 4.
I played Black Ops 4 for about 2 months, and I got it because me and my buddy game shared. I never played Vanguard either. I thought Vanguard was trash.
Wow, you know what? It's so bad that I forgot it existed until right this second. That game fucking sucked.
I forgot that was a game that came out before Modern Warfare 2, and it's just because it might be World War II themed, and they tried to go back to their roots. But the one that came out in like what 2017, Call of Duty World War II, dude, that shit was fucking top tier for that genre. They went back to their roots and did it perfectly. But they couldn't do that for Vanguard. I mean, there's a lot of YouTubers I watched that played the hell out of the game and they fucking hated it. It wasn't where it needed to be. But, 10 years ago, we had, what was it? Advanced Warfare just come out. The Last of Us was the biggest game of that year. Not God of War. Gears of War was the biggest game of that year.
Mm-hmm.
That was when the PS4 and the Xbox One launched. We had huge rises in technology at that point in time. Actually, the biggest game of 2013 was arguably GTA 5, which is now, as of September, 10 years old.
Wow.
And you look back 10 years ago and you see how games were. The Last of Us, probably, and this is my opinion, the greatest single player game in existence. Now, The Last of Us Part 2, hot dog shit. Not gonna sugarcoat it. I think that game is fucking ass cheeks. The first one, though, goated with the sauce. Best game I have ever played, hands down, as a single player story. I was really happy that was the direction they took with the TV show. Now, biggest game 10 years ago was GTA 5. Here we are 10 years later. The biggest game on the market right now, arguably, is still Fortnite.
Yep.
Call of Duty has a lot of players. It has a lot of loyal fans. It always will. But it is not what it has or ever will be. And I don't think a lot of people realize that, they are being scammed. And that leads into the more concurrent, atmosphere and climate of gaming. The climate of gaming has completely changed. It is no longer based around having a fully developed game. It is now, let's put out a game and then slowly add updates to it that either kill the game or make it better. And they'll decide what happens, as they progress that game. Call of Duty comes out as live service. Cool. Fine with that. As long as you give me free shit, I'm cool with that. But what you should do instead is take the time to develop the game and put all the stuff you want to have for free in the game already and just don't fuck with it. The more you fuck with a game and the more you change it, the more you're going to see if people are actually ever going to stick around and buy the next installment, or if they're going to play it for a little bit and then get rid of the game completely, which is what I did with Modern Warfare 2. They changed too much with it, and I got tired of it, so I haven't played the game in fucking 3 months. There's just no reason for me to play the game anymore. They haven't changed anything or added anything worth of value to make me want to play that game.
And like you said about the new one when it comes out, if you have 20 million players, you'll lose 6 million of them in 2 weeks. Like you said that, and it really resonated with me because Modern Warfare 2, the last one, I've been playing a lot of it, and mostly just to get ready for the new Call of Duty. Like playing the beta got me in feeling Call of Duty. But other than that, dude, I think let me go back to the list of Call of Duties. The last Call of Duty that I played consistently was Black Ops 3. Or Warzone, if we're counting Warzone. Right. Vanguard sucked. Modern Warfare 2, not great, but it's the newest one, so I play it. The first Modern Warfare, I'd say actually I played a lot more of that than I did Black Ops 4, but it was still that like I played it for a month and then didn't touch it for 3 or 4 months until I played it again.
Right.
There hasn't been a Call of Duty that's captured my attention since Modern Warfare Remastered. And that was literally just like nostalgia. It was like, oh, I can actually play a game I enjoy again. Black Ops 2 was good. Advanced Warfare sucked. Ghosts sucked.
And my thing is, you and I we were very close when Modern Warfare 2 came out, along with everybody that we were working with at that time. And we all got together and we all used to play for the first month that it dropped, at least. So you look at that stat, right? You have millions of people playing the game in its first month. A lot of people are going to get that game for the holidays as a Christmas gift. That's just plain and simple. That's what a lot of people
Christmas noobs.
But between Thanksgiving and Christmas is where the biggest drop in player base is going to happen, because that's when the first major patches of that game start rolling out and people start seeing exactly what Call of Duty is always going to be. It's just going to be a cash grab. There's literally nothing different to that game that they haven't done in the last 6-7 years. Now, granted, before Black Ops 4 came out, everything were complete games. After Black Ops 4 came out, everything has been live service. No, take that back. Black Ops 4 was the last game that they made that had DLC, because that was when you had to buy the DLC packs for. If I'm not mistaken. I could be completely wrong on that, but I believe that I used to see DLC packs for that game.
And
now you have live service in Modern Warfare 2019 that is it's just destroying the industry, in my opinion. You're taking away from what games used to be, and now you're pushing it to a completely different direction that everybody hates. Because at this point, it's not about giving to your fans and giving them what they want. It's, we're going to compel to our fans and give them something similar, but we're going to fuck them over in the process because we want money and we're greedy. And that's where greed is starting to get these companies. It's like EA, for example. You look at EA, you look at what they did to Battlefield. Battlefield 3 and 4, best fucking games that I have ever had the pleasure of playing. Battlefield 1, again, one of the best games I think I've ever played for a shooter. And then you have Hardline that came out, and then you have Battlefield 5, and now 2042. 5 and 2042 were not good games. Now 2042 is starting to turn around a little bit. I'll give them that. They realize their shortcomings, and they're trying to learn from it. That's awesome. But as far as it releasing, hot dog shit on release every single time. EA just does not live up to their expectations, and I sincerely hope that they get bought out by a big company, because they are one of the only companies on this planet that I think are completely undeserving of being independent, because they cannot prove to the world that they are worthy of being an independent company at this point in time. Whoever is leading that company is just running it to the ground.
Yeah, dude, I honestly, I haven't enjoyed a single Battlefield since Battlefield 4.
I enjoyed 1 quite a bit because it was the first time that we got a legitimate World War I game that, even though it didn't really have a story, but it captured like key points of that war that, I guess is just going off of what we learned in school. World War I wasn't very recognized
in terms of like gaming, or
in terms of gaming, in terms of history. Like, yeah, history, it's recognized as the first major world war. I'm not gonna say that it wasn't, but it's very underrated as far as everything that happened from the time it started until World War II started. All the events that happened during the war, once the war ended, and afterwards, it's not really talked about. Even the stuff that led to the beginning of World War I, still never really talked about. Battlefield changed that, in my opinion, because they wanted to talk more about that specifically. That war changed history completely. It wasn't World War II. World War I changed the course of history. It showed how deadly and how savage the human population is as a whole, especially in wartime. And that's what EA wanted to capture, was how savage that war was, how fucked up that war was on all fronts, and the different technological advances that we had at that point. And then you look at 2042 and you wonder, what the fuck happened, EA? Like, yeah, we get wingsuits and shit, but at what cost? A game glitching out every 5 minutes you try to play? You can't use a certain character because the game just won't fucking let you? I mean, let's be real. Like, you made a successful game then, and you can't make one now. And, you know, within the last 10 years, there's a lot of games that have come out that, you know, like, I run to it again, Fallout 76. Trash all the way through until about 2 years ago when they fixed it and they added everything they wanted to have in the game in the first place.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with Bethesda. It has everything to do with who runs that company. And everybody knows who runs Bethesda. Everybody knows who the face of Bethesda is. And I'm not going to drop his name because you already know who he is.
You should drop his name.
Todd Howard. Todd Howard ran that fucking game into the ground because he wanted it out there. Because, you know, everybody was like, well, we want a new game. Okay, here you go. Well, this isn't what we wanted. Well, you asked for a new game. This is what we're giving you. And yeah, you know what? It did pretty well when it sold, but then it lost a lot of its player base right after because there just wasn't any substance to it. Now, I mean, people are coming back to the game. I don't know how many people it has concurrently playing it all across all platforms, but it's solid. I enjoy the hell out of the game. I love Fallout. I like this style of Fallout better than I like the single-player games. And the reason why is I get single-player is for you to enjoy yourself and not with friends. But if they incorporated stuff like the public events that are in this game, which are supposed to be able to bring people together to accomplish something.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to bring something like that into a single player game and you could have your followers join you and just go all out, I think that'd be fucking perfect. I think that was a great concept for something like Fallout, where you're having to bring the people that you find in the world to battle with you. I think that's something cool, and I don't think that a lot of games really capture something like that in general. I don't think that's really a thing that people really think about. But, you know, getting back 10 years ago, you didn't have anything like that, because if you made a single player game, it was an experience for you to an experience.
Like Assassin's Creed.
Skyrim. Skyrim was just so ahead of its time, in my opinion. I think if they were to release it a couple years later, they still would have made a killing off of it. It was just so uniquely different from every RPG that was out there that it challenged everybody to be better than that, to make a game better than that. And people are going to sit there and say, well, you know, Skyrim isn't that good. Skyrim was the biggest game that year, and it was that biggest game for a reason. It was that good. It was that guy, essentially. Like, it was it was that game, and it stayed that way for a very long time. And a lot of people I don't think they really want to go back and look and see the success that that game had versus games now. Because, granted, that was 12 years ago. But everything is changing rapidly, especially in the gaming world, with like technology and the way that people are going about developing games and like the way they're playing out. That, like I said, the whole climate of video games and the entire industry has completely flipped. I mean, I don't think that we'll ever go back to the way things were. Everything nowadays is either a remake, a remaster, or live service.
Yep.
And you know, for me, I don't mind if they take a game like The Last of Us, for example, and they remake it, or they I would say remake, but they completely redo it like they did for Steam this year. You know, that's cool that you want to be able to branch out to a completely different community of people and have them play your game. I think that's a great business tactic, and it's a great way for players to be able to enjoy something new. But if you look at how that game was 10 years ago to now, yes, it's gained a lot more hype. It's gained a lot more like overall following, but you don't have companies that will want to come up with something more original. You know, that's not original to try to put it on and port it to a new platform.
Right.
I mean, that happens all the time. Now, coming up with something that is in that realm and developing a brand new entity out of it, I think that that's way more of a challenge and a thrill in itself than to just release the same shit over again.
Yeah, and speaking of new ideas, I mean, shout out Bethesda for Starfield. I thought they did a great job with it. And when you were talking about Fallout 76 and how there's like it is a single player game, but it's also not a single player game, I think they could have imported that into Starfield in a very creative way. Like maybe when you're on a planet, it's single player. You don't run into anybody. But do you know how bad I want to get into starship battles with my friends and against my friends? Like what I spend all this time and all of this effort in game to like get enough money to build a badass ship, and I can only use it against AI. I would really like to see something in the future from Starfield where they do introduce a either like multiplayer or even co-op.
I'm in the same boat. You know, when Starfield came out, or before it came out, I thought it was going to be fucking trash.
Same.
I didn't think that that game was going to be good at all. I got it. I played it. In my honest opinion, I think it's a solid 7 out of 10. It is missing some key features in that game that I think that I would like to see.
What's the big? Okay, I was about to say, what's the biggest thing you think it's missing?
I think the biggest thing it's missing is some form of co-op, whether that's you with a friend, you with multiple people. And the reason I say that is just it's simply the world is so vast for that game.
Yeah.
Not just a planet, but the world of Starfield is so vast. There's so much to do. I think it's a little too much to do for one person. You know, you create a vast universe like this, like they did for No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky was supposed to have so many different planets. I mean, I'm not going to get into how many planets, but it's supposed to be a lot. But there wasn't a lot to keep people going because it was boring. It lost its luster after a couple weeks. Starfield, in my opinion, same thing. There's a lot to do. They cut a lot of stuff out that I think that they should have kept in. But while it's captivating, it lacks in creativity in certain lights. And I think that that's why that game kind of is falling flat now. I mean, the game is fun. I'm not going to disregard it as a good title. I think that it's innovative. I think they did a really good job bringing something new to the table. And it's definitely a lot of fun. But it doesn't captivate me to want to sit down and play the game for 2 or 3 months at a time. Not like Fallout. You know, Fallout 76, yes. Shit release. Everybody gave it like 1 or 2 stars. I would honestly give 76 a higher rating than Starfield. And it's not because I like Fallout more than I like Starfield. It's because they geared it to not only include an entire quest line and a bunch of other things, but you can play with other people, you can make friends, you can have fun for longer periods of time than you can on Starfield.
Yeah, and I think that would change. Like like if you run into a player ship while you're flying around, you can it's been my biggest gripe since the day it came out. I love the game, super creative. It was innovative. It was an innovative game, but it just got boring.
I'll say this. If they would have kind of made it how Armored Core 6 is, which also, great game if nobody's ever played it.
I have.
If you've ever... It's very similar to... I wouldn't say it's like a Souls game. It plays like a Souls game. But it's not... I'll put it this way. It's not like you have to go into a spot and get one shot by a fucking enemy every single time.
Oh,
you know,
God.
it's all related with mechs. You can build your mech however you want, but The point I'm trying to make with that game is it came out that you had to reach a certain part in the story to play 3v3 battles or 1v1 battles or whatever. And the battle system in that game is great when you go up, like when you're doing the head-to-head, because you're going with a team of 3 based off of your mech design versus another 3 people with their mech design, and you're just going at it in a giant arena, and it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, that sounds fucking sick.
You know, if they would have added something like that in Starfield, but not necessarily with the ships that you build, because, I mean, I'm not going to go up against an Imperial Star Destroyer. I'm sorry. That's just not going to fucking happen. But if you go up against, you know, a ship that you get in the game that you can outfit to actually be able to fight with, I think that'd be pretty cool. I think it would really give a insight to how people build and what people think when it comes to that game, especially with the Starship, like, combat system.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to innovate their builds and be able to innovate the way that they play. I think if they would have added something like that, it would have probably bumped the ratings up on it. I think it would have made the game a little bit more fun to enjoy, rather than it just being solo.
I completely agree, man. And we did kind of get off on a tangent here.
We did.
I did. I do still want to talk. And maybe I'll chop this up and put this back where it belongs. But behind the scenes of streaming, you know,
yeah, man.
You know, when I was streaming, I started during the pandemic, and I like we were talking, like that's it was all I had to do. I went and bought a webcam. I put a fucking tapestry behind me so nobody could see my gross ass living room. And I started streaming, and people, like, it seems easy at first when you first get into it. Like, you see other people streaming, you're like, oh, that's all I have to do is get a camera, pick a game, go live. People don't realize how much fucking work goes into it. And you might think, some people might think like, oh, you're just playing video games. I don't think anyone that says that has never streamed a video game for 4 hours with one person watching.
And I have to completely agree. You know, a lot of people sit there and think that streamers, you know, it's not hard to play a video game. You can sit there for hours and play it. There's a much different feel when you're playing off camera versus when you're live. When you're live, there's a lot of things you have to keep in the back of your head. You have to think of things that you can and can't say. Maybe what's in your room that's, you know, that might come off as offensive to people for whatever reason. Certain things that you want to talk about, but you can't because of the climate of the platform that you're on. You know, there's so many different factors you have to consider. And I don't think a lot of people think about that. And I'd also, going off of that, don't think people realize that as a streamer, it's not just you playing a video game. There's a lot of, like, technological factors that play into that. I mean, depending on what broadcasting software you use, gives a much different, like, resolution that people can see. It gives you know, how much you can put on your stream for people to interact with, you know, on their end for, you know, links or sponsors or whatever. It comes down to the hardware inside your PC. You know, people are constantly wanting, if they want to stream, they have to get better stuff because their PC just can't handle it. You know, there's a lot of factors that go into it. And I think the biggest factor with streaming itself is you're not you whenever you're streaming. And I know that sounds like a Snickers commercial, and I'm not trying to make it come off that way. But when you're streaming, you cannot be the real you. You are, at that point, it's like anybody that's on live TV as a news anchor, an actor, whatever the case might be. You have to have the mindset that anything you say can and will be held against you at any given point.
Yep.
There's so many things that I wish that I could say on stream when people start talking about certain things, and I just can't say it. There's, you know, there's certain key words or certain phrases. There's certain topics even that you just cannot bring up, or you get fucking crucified for it. And a lot of people don't realize that there's a lot of thought that goes into streaming. Like when I go to stream, I don't sit there and think, oh, I'm going to play this game and this is what I'm going to do. It's entirely natural. It flows the way that's supposed to, but you always have that tick that's in the back of your fucking mind that tells you, you can't do that, you can't say that, you can't have this in the game, you can't play this music, you know, you can't have this amount of blood or anything because you'll get banned. And then it even comes down to you have to have a certain restriction on your channel if you don't want people under the age of 18 to watch, because if you do a lot of adult related content or adult related, you know, profanity or whatever, you can't have that for kids because then they crack down on it. But when it comes to just being a streamer, you know, people are never going to realize that there's so much more to it than what people think. Behind the scenes, I mean, I have to plan my day around the stream. I have to plan my weeks out around it. You know, I have so much stuff going on behind the scenes for myself. You know me personally. You've been to my house. You know that me and my wife are expecting a baby. You know that I've been going through a couple different job changes and stuff, and my schedule's kind of out of whack. You know, there's a lot of things that people don't really consider. You know, the big time streamers, you know, they have to hit a certain amount of hours streaming every single month. I think it's 100 or it's either 180 or it's like 240 hours they have to hit a month to keep their partnership, which is an insane amount of numbers. I mean, that's 12 to 14 hour streams at least 3 or 4 times a week. I mean,
going back to like people saying, oh, you're just sitting down playing video games. Yeah, I can do that anytime I want, and I can stop anytime I want. I can hop on Rocket League for 25 minutes and then go about my day. But if I'm streaming, I have an obligation to stay there for X amount of time. And even if it's not like a partnership or like an affiliate, like I can't just get on for 30 minutes and then like leave people hanging. Like those people are there to watch you. They want to keep watching you, which makes you feel obligated as a streamer to keep streaming.
exactly. And I think there's also another factor that comes with streaming too, and that's your mental state. And a lot of people don't understand. Streamers are people too. I may not be a big streamer, but I'm also a person, and I also have my own feelings and my own like problems that I deal with on a daily basis outside of the streaming world, which, you know, coincidentally is not why I haven't streamed in 5 months. I've been so all over the place. Do I want to get back into it concurrently? Yeah, but there's so much going on that I can't devote time to. And even when I did, like when I was streaming almost every single day, it takes such a toll on your mental health, because it's not that you're trying to succeed, and it's not the thought of success that lies in the back of your mind. It's you're mentally draining yourself, because even if you could have 1 viewer, you could have 15 viewers, you could have 1,000 viewers. It's not dealing with people, it's putting up that fake face, so to speak. It's putting on that mask. Like you're going to like a ballroom dance and you don't want people to know who you are. So you keep having to push past that, and you have to make yourself look the part and not give into what you're going through outside of streaming. And it's very hard to do that. And I know that probably doesn't make any sense the way that I worded that, but it's really hard. It's really hard to want to stream for me when I have so many different negative thoughts, because it's not that, and I'm not going to say I have that all the time, but you know, people like Tim to Tatman or Shroud, if they're having a bad day, they'll cancel their streams. They'll say, "Oh, I'm putting this off. I'm not having a good day." You know, and are people going to be upset? Yeah, but you know, people realize they're humans. They have emotion. They're allowed to feel emotion. There's a lot of things that we go through on a daily basis that we shrug off, and we just go through life and not really, you know, go through the motions of it. Like there's a lot to process behind the scenes. It's not that we can't do it. It's just
Yep.
that it's not good content
Yep.
as a content creator and as a streamer to go in with a very off-put mindset, because it's just not going to be a good stream. I'm not going to be at my best if I'm in a depressed state of mind. I'm just not going to want to be talkative. I won't be as focused. I'm not going to produce what I want to do. It's just not a good time for anybody. And you know, behind the scenes, that's the biggest factor in determining like if you want to be a streamer or not, if you really want to push forward with it or not, is are people going to want to stick by you on your bad days versus your good days? Because anything could happen if you're doing a 12 or 14 hour stream, literally anything can happen within that amount of time, and it could fuck up your day. It could really fuck up your day. It could fuck up your entire week. You know, so now everything you have planned out, you have to cancel. And now everybody else is going to be like, well, what the fuck? So there's definitely a lot that goes into wanting to be a streamer. And for anybody who wants to become a streamer, I will give you the best piece of advice that I can give after being around it for as long as I have. And that advice is going to be this. Make time to stream when you have time to stream. Don't force yourself to stream every day. Don't force yourself to make a schedule. Go with how you feel and go with the motions of life and, you know, what happens every day. You shouldn't want to force yourself to stream. If you want to have a schedule, be loose with it. You know, if something comes up, you know, you can always say, I'm going to be a little late. I'm sorry. Apologize. Whatever you got to do. Don't make it seem like you have to do it. It's not an obligation. It is not your primary source of income unless you are making, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month off of it. It's not your primary source of income. It's not your primary job. It's not the only job you have. Focus on what you need to do to make sure that whatever you're putting out is your best stuff. It's not fake. It's not, like, I don't know exact word to say. It's not original if you aren't authentic to yourself.
Right. And that's, I love that advice, because when you, and this is going back to kind of what you were just talking about with, like, you know, Shroud or Tim the Tatman, if they're having a bad day personally, they don't have to stream because they know they have hundreds of thousands of fans, and they're not going to lose a fan because they're not streaming one day. But if you're a small streamer and you've got 3 consistent viewers and they count on you being there every day, again, you feel that obligation to them. But that's even more of an obligation as a small streamer because
you feel like you have to deliver.
Yeah, it's more pressure because, you know, if you have 10,000 fans and you don't stream for a day and you lose like 50 fans, you're like, okay, cool. But if you only have 5, I feel, and maybe I don't know because I've never had 10,000 followers as a streamer, but it's got to feel good knowing that, like, if you take a day off, you're not going to lose your entire fan base. You're not going to lose everybody that watches you. You're not going to lose half of them because you missed a day. And it also, like, I love that advice, because especially like if you're having a bad day or like you're not in a great headspace and you try and get on a stream, it's going to be shit.
You know, wouldn't be able to say that I could count how many times Tim the Tatman has stopped a stream because of something going on or because things are, you know, it's having a bad day. But he stopped quite a few streams because he's been having a bad day. And it's not the games, but he could have something going on in his personal life that's just really affecting him. And when he plays Call of Duty and stuff like that, like, Call of Duty is a prime example of how a bad day can get worse. And it doesn't matter. Like, you could think, oh, it's just a game. You could have consistent bad games that amplify the effect of whatever negative is going through your mind that you're trying to get off of your mind.
Yeah, and
as a streamer, you
even
have to take in
more so,
very many possibilities.
Not streaming for a day
of what can happen.
You might
if something
lose
sets you
a
off.
lot less fans not streaming than if you go on
it
and
goes
have a
into
terrible
what you
stream.
can and can't do or say on stream or bring up. You have to be able to pertain to those guidelines that you signed up for without breaking them and you have to be able to deliver. And if you can't do that, take time to be able to get yourself right. The last thing you want to do is destroy something that you could have a opportunity to form into a career if you choose to do so. It's not going to happen overnight, but if you really want to do it, you really want to make it succeed, if you happen to do that, you know, that's half the battle. But the main focus of being a streamer is getting yourself right mentally. It's really hard to stream when you're in a bad state of mind.
Yeah. And on the other side of that, if you're somebody that is very like energetic and super into chat and like always smiling and laughing and making jokes, and you're having a bad day and you go on stream and that personality that you've fostered as a streamer isn't there, you might lose even more fans not being that person that they think you are because you're having a bad day.
There's a lot of things that you could say that could piss off a whole bunch of people. And you could lose a majority of your fan base by saying one wrong thing. It's better just to take the time off and get yourself right instead of losing what you have.
Yep.
Granted, and not only that, but take into consideration if you are someone like Tim the Tap Man, like the shit that happened with him earlier in the year, the controversy that surrounded him, you know, that's just him as a person. That is his personal beliefs. And that's just what he does. You know, he's allowed to feel entitled to those opinions. But if you are having a bad day and you say something off-putting, not only is that going to resonate incredibly bad with your audience, but then when they take to social media, because everybody uses social media, and you start trending because of the shit that you say, now you're in the limelight in the worst way possible. That is not only going to affect you, but it's going to affect the people that you're affiliated with, the people that you build a livelihood around, your family. If they come after your family, I mean, there's a lot of different possibilities that can happen because you could say one wrong thing because you're in the wrong state of mind. So, I mean, I want to leave that one there with everybody. I mean, if that's something you really want to get into, please consider that, because it is a huge, huge thing to take into consideration.
This has been great. I had a lot of fun talking about everything today. Is there anything else that you want to add? Anything that you want to plug in before we get out of here?
Yeah, man. You know, if you guys haven't yet, if you guys like what I have to say and you want to see me when I do come back to start streaming here shortly, be sure to check me out on Twitch at the RaginRaccoon. I also have a YouTube with the same name and a Twitter with the same name. I really don't use either the Twitter or the YouTube nearly as much. Trying to get into learning how to edit videos, but again, it's going to take some time to be able to develop the footage and the content necessary for that. But feel free to go ahead, follow me on Twitch, you know, hit the notification button so you know when I go live, and then we can be a part of the journey coming up together.
I love to hear that, man. And I'll make sure I get all those links. I'll put them in the description so they're easy for everybody to get to. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for joining me today to talk about your experiences and, you know, giving your opinions on some things that I know we're both very passionate about. I really appreciate it.
Hey, man, I'm just glad that I could be a part of this. I could, you know, come forthright and talk about my experience, especially, you know, as a streamer, you know, the current gaming environment and climate that we're in, and just, you know, trying to help anybody out that might be looking to try to start up a career in streaming. So,
well, I love it. Well, everybody make sure you go follow my boy on Twitch, follow him on YouTube, follow him on Twitter. Let's get those numbers up. All right, it is time for Filthy Friday. We had a bit of a change of plans for Filthy Friday. The two guests that I was supposed to have on today decided to stand me up. They both flaked on me. So the premise of Filthy Friday is simple. I bring on anonymous guests. I ask them, what is the filthiest thing you've ever done? And we discuss it. But both of my interviewees decided to not show up. So I guess you're getting a Panda Filthy Friday. Panda, what's the filthiest thing you've ever done? That's a great question, Panda. Let me answer that for you. The filthiest thing I've ever done, and I'm not going to say any names, but if you know me, you probably know who this was. There is a park near us where you can do some fishing by the river, but there's a spot, or used to be, where you could slip through the fence to get into an area that is owned by the city. But inside that fenced off area, it's probably about a square mile. It's a big area. There are untouched bodies of water
with some of the fattest bass you've ever seen. And there was a summer where me and a couple friends went there all of the time. We took, our poles, tackle boxes. You could fit a fucking ATV through this hole in the fence. I'm not sure why it took them so long to fix it. But the one day I decided to take my girlfriend back there, the girl I was dating at the time, and teach her how to fish, So we went back there, we start fishing. Next thing you know, getting a little frisky. We are, for some reason, on the ground, and shit starts getting weird. I won't give all the details. Long story short, we end up fucking on the grass right next to one of these lakes. Mind you, we've been fishing. We are not clean. It was not a great idea, but it was fucking awesome. And then we almost get caught by some dude that was back there mowing the grass. We had no idea this dude was there. And I'll never forget that. I think that's probably the filthiest thing I've ever done. And it might be one of the filthiest things that I'll ever do. But fellas, having sex outside is dope. Let me tell you. It's freeing. It's fucking blah, 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 come on the grass. It's like camping, but for your dick. I wish I had more for you on this Filthy Friday, but you need to blame my two guests that were all about it until push came to shove. I'm out here airing my own business because other people don't want to air theirs. But you would have been anonymous. Anyways, that's all I got for Filthy Friday. Next Filthy Friday will be much better, I promise you, because I'm going to get my guests locked in before Wednesday and get them recorded before Wednesday so that this doesn't happen again. And that's going to lead me right into my rant. I fucking cannot stand when people do this shit. And to one of the people that was supposed to be on here, because I know she will listen, the other one won't. It's okay. I forgive you. I'm not actually upset. I just got to talk shit on the podcast. I don't want you to listen to this and be like, damn, Panda's really talking shit about me like that. Nah, I love you. I know you're busy. I know shit went kind of not how you planned on it going last night. So I forgive you. We're cool. But for the other one who definitely will not listen to this podcast, fake friend, I'm pissed off. I'm honestly, I am upset. We've talked about it every single day this week. We talked about it multiple times yesterday, and then nothing. And then next thing you know, I'm fucked up at a concert. And I get it. My podcast is not your priority. It shouldn't be, really. It's my priority, but that's because that's mine. But regardless, that person, you know who you are, not that you're listening to this, you're banned. You are hereby officially banned and barred from any future Panda Rants podcasts. You know what? No, I won't be that harsh. 30-day ban. 30-day ban starting today. December 3rd, you are welcomed back on the podcast. But if I can't trust you to show up on time, I'm not going to make any plans with you. So, not just show up on time, but show up at all. Anyways, I haven't gotten my fucking sweatshirt back. If any of you have listened to all of the episodes prior to this one, thank you. Fucking, I love you for that. But two, you know that I have been trying to get this fucking sweatshirt back all week. And it's not like she's avoiding me. It's like, oh, I'm not home. Oh, I can't. Oh, I'm busy. Just no replies. Do you know how long it takes to put a sweatshirt in a bag, take a picture and send it to me and say it's ready? Or here's an idea. You know where I fucking live? Drop it on my fucking doorstep. Or do you want me to take you to the fucking airport again first? Jesus Christ, man. Oh, women. Can't live with them. Can't live without them. I took a nice walk this morning. It was a good walk. It was only about 1.5 miles, which, it's not terrible, but I didn't really have time to take a longer walk this morning. I know I had way too much shit to do. I made that intro this morning. I got to put together. You guys don't care. I can't believe I just told the story about me fucking my ex-girlfriend while illegally bass fishing in a fenced-off piece of land owned by the city. I wonder what the statute of limitations is on that. I don't think they can get me for that, right? It's not like I stole anything or damaged anything. And this is all hearsay anyways. There's no evidence. I just be on here talking shit. And wouldn't you know, while I'm recording, my second guest just decided to hit me up. Let's see. Oh, see, and that's why I reprimanded one of them, and I'm okay with the other. And you know who you are. Thank you for following up and letting me know what's going on. We can absolutely do it later, and I'll have you on next week's Filthy Friday. That works perfectly. We love a good follow-up. Someone that actually gives a shit, unlike our other guest, who was banned for a month. How about Kenny Pickett? I mean, the kid is classic Pittsburgh. He's there to get the fucking job done. It's not going to look pretty. 160 yards is trash, but you know what? It doesn't fucking matter. Now when you have Jalen Warren and Najee Harris to back you up. We got the Packers next week. Honestly, I feel the same way about that game as I did about this game. I think it's going to be a shit show fuckfest. I think it'll be a low-scoring game. The Packers are not good, but honestly, The Steelers' record, they look a lot better than they are. But if Matt Canada's on the field again next week, I'm putting the house on Pittsburgh because we do not have a great rest of the year after that. We have to play the Browns November 19th. And I'll always talk shit about the Browns, but they're not a bad football team. They are not the Browns of yesteryear. And then we have to play the Bengals the next week. So if we don't beat the Browns, we're kind of fucked because I love the Steelers, but I don't think we can beat the Bengals. We have the Cardinals, then the Patriots, then the Colts. So three very winnable games, 4 including the Packers. The Steelers sit right now at 5-3. If we beat the Packers, the Patriots, the Colts, and we can beat the Seahawks, that'll put us at 10 wins. That just leaves 2 Bengals games, the Browns and the Ravens. I hate to say it, I'm not confident in AFC North divisional games this year. The Steelers barely pulled it out against the Ravens previously, and that was at Heinz Field. I think in Baltimore, they have another thing coming for them. But we'll see. This week could have been the turning point for our offense to finally be able to support our defense, who's working their ass off. The Seahawks, after what happened with the Browns, I'm not confident about the Seahawks game. I think I'm very confident about the Packers, Cardinals, Patriots, and Colts. And now that I said that, we'll lose all 4 of them, but we'll see. The Cleveland Browns take on the Cardinals. Browns should win that game, but but they're kind of bad, so we'll see how that goes. Before I get out of here, I'm going to give you my picks for every single game this week. Dolphins, Chiefs, I'm taking Dolphins. Vikings, Falcons, I got Vikings. Seahawks, Ravens, I got Ravens. Cardinals, Browns, I'm taking the Browns. Rams at Packers, they both got fucking shellacked last week. I'm taking the Rams. Bucks over the Texans. Patriots over the Commanders. Saints over the Bears. Colts over the Panthers. Giants over the Raiders. Nope, I take that back. I'm trusting in Aiden O'Connell. Raiders over the Giants. Eagles over the Cowboys. The Cowboys are 5-2. I fucking hate that. Bills, Bengals. I fucking love that for Sunday Night Football. I fucking love that. I said it before, the Bills are good, not great. They have some great individual performers, but I take the Bengals over the Bills in Sunday Night Football, and I'm taking the Jets over the Chargers Monday night. Take those bets and run with them. Please don't, though. Please don't. I have no clue what I'm fucking talking about. That'll be it for today's show. Thank you all so much for listening. I love you all. I send my love to your friends, your family, and your loved ones. Have an amazing weekend. Stay safe. Don't eat any yellow snow. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Panda, and this has been another episode of Panda Rants. Love you guys. Have a good weekend.